awesome, awesome. That was phenomenal, Blama. Oh my gosh, it has just been simply amazing, guys. And of course, I'm just so grateful and just so thankful for being here with you guys. And again, one of the things that you realize that good leaders have the ability to do what? They basically surround themselves with people that are smarter than themselves. And if there's anything that I know is that I'll surround myself with the best of the best, the smartest in the area. And I've been able to share them with you guys on today. So my presentation for today is sales, up your game and raise your income. And this is one of the areas, guys, that so many entrepreneurs are so challenged with, right? This is an area where we need to work hard on. And so I'm grateful and thankful for this opportunity to share this with you today. Many of you know me, but for some of you that are fairly new, of course, you know, first and foremost, I'm a wife and I'm a mother, first and foremost, or of course, I'm a child of God, a wife, a mother, a master kingdom teacher, an author, entrepreneur, speaker, coach, and investor. And I have a mission in life, which is to help individuals discover the gift and that potential that's on them, the greatness that's on the inside of them. And I'm driven to empower, to be able to help leaders be all that they can be to fulfill their God's purpose. Okay. So with that said, let's move. All righty. What is sales? I have so many people that say to me, Kara, they say to me, Angela, I don't like selling. I don't like people who sell. I will never sell. Well, we're going to demystify that today, because selling is, and if you notice on your workbook, there is the blank. Selling is a way of life. That is so key. Selling is a way of life. Selling is also the prerequisite for your life. Very important. You know, selling impacts every person on this planet. And guys, when I think about this, one of the biggest regret I have is that we don't teach this in grade school. Sales should be one of the courses that we give every student an opportunity to take. Why? Because a person's ability or inability to sell, to persuade, to negotiate, and convince others will affect every area of their lives and determine how well you survive. Oh my gosh, this is key. Make a note of that. So key. Okay. So selling is not just a job. Selling is what? Selling is a way of life. And so we need to be able to understand that to get a job, you need to sell yourself. Looking for a job? How are you selling yourself? Trying to get dating? Ain't nobody here. Trust me, lots of men and women all around you. What's going on? Maybe the problem is you. How are you selling yourself? How are you persuading? Yay. How are you convincing that I'm the one? And when you find me, guys, that's it. See, I was able to sell Paul. Hey, but mind you, Paul sold me too. So anyway, so when you're in a relationship, you're always selling to each other. Okay. If you're a mother, you're in sales, right? So whatever position you're in. So if you're working for someone, you're in sales, right? And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. So selling is not just a job. Selling is a way of life. Very, very key. Now let's look at Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of sales, right? And it says the action of persuading or influencing another. The action of persuading or influence another to a course of action or the acceptance of something. Alrighty. And so this is so key that we understand this, because for you to be able to sell, you're going to have to understand, and we're selling every day. Listen, you had to drive out today. Like I had to pull out of my driveway and I had to put my indicator on as to where I was going. I had to sell. Right? Because I had to persuade the person. I had to tell them, I'm about to take this particular action and I want you to work with me so that there's no, you know what, right? I'm very careful in my words. I don't just put words out there. So anyway, so this is key. Now understand what is one of the number one reason a business failed. And so many times we'll say it's undercapitalization, but not so. So understand the truth is businesses fail first and foremost because their ideas weren't sold quickly enough and in quantities that are great enough. And so therefore what happened? They ran out of money. No business owner can build a business without understand this critical element called selling. So here in the office, it's a big deal. And one of the things that Paul and I love my husband, he's like, a lot of the skill set that I've learned in the area of sales, I got to give it to Paul, right? Because he's phenomenal. He sold me, told me when we were dating, I'll get you a mansion. I'll do this. We'll travel the world. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll do the other. The man sold me. You hear me? So Paul is like a seasoned professional when it comes to selling. And so, but one of the things here at the office is that when we do presentations and stuff, he's like, well, where's the contract? Did you close the deal? And so the big deal, Linda, here is like, listen, nothing happens until a sale is made. And so I love sales. I live for sales. And this also transfers into how I share the gospel, because sales is really just that. Sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. That's really what sales is all about. It's a transfer of enthusiasm. And so it's like, if you're not leading others to Christ, oh, hey, sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. You're not selling your product, people aren't biting. Sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. And I watch entrepreneurs all the time. I watch people all the time. I really focus on how excited are you when you're selling me something? Are you sold on what you have, right? And so we talk also about commissions. And I just found a report just now that I'll read to you as well. But, people say, well, when it comes to commission, I really want to have nothing to do with commission because I don't like commission. I want a straight paycheck. Well, listen, let me tell you something. Every time you get your way, you've just been paid a commission. So every time you get your way, you've just been paid a commission. And so we say, well, however, well, what does that have to do with everything in life? Well, the truth of the matter is, let's just take a relationship, right, Cicely? You find the right partner. The ultimate commission is earned when you find the right partner and you take care of him or her. You continue to create the relationship to keep it growing, right? So there's no guarantee that that relationship will get you love. True or true? True. First, you have to persuade the person to take an interest in you. Guys, that's sales. Then you have to find out what they want and what makes them happy. Guys, I have studied my husband. We're going to be 29 years married and not talk about the years we dated before. You see what I'm saying? And I'm happily married. Why? Because I study my husband, just like how you have to study your prospect. Paul is happily married to me. I know that. Why? Because he studies me as well, right? And so now you have to be able to then make sure they're happy, and then you have to produce it, and then you have to keep producing it. But somewhere along the line, you have to sell the other person on the idea that you're the one that he or she can trust to create a life with. And if you succeed and exceed the person's expectation, you will get the commission of love. All right. So it's no different in a business. All right. So we got to be able to understand it. There's no different in a business. Right. So, for example, if you want a happy, blessed marriage, yep, you get a commission for that. Right. Love, then children, they're fulfilling their purpose is your commission. Excellent health, a commission for taking care of myself and on my mind. So important. Right. And then so we also need to talk about the idea here is that selling is about life, and every area of your life involves selling. And so the more consistently you can win at selling, team, the more commissions you'll get rewarded in life. I must say that again. So the more consistently you can win at selling, remember, it's everything, the more commissions you'll get rewarded in life. So get this, everyone on planet Earth is involved in sales. There are no exceptions to the law. You're involved in selling almost every minute of the day. And so take a look at this quote. A person's ability to persuade another is the only thing that will ultimately ensure you position in the marketplace. So key. All right. So what are the 4 things that depends upon salespeople? Because salespeople are key. A sales professional is key. This is why we have to be able to make sure that our kids take courses to be able to understand the importance of developing, this skill set, right? 1, products. Okay, when you look at your notes, it shows you there. Salespeople are so vital. They are so vital to the economy. They're vital, in the area of products, right? In the area of individual business. If you have a product, say for example, Home Depot, or what we found out during the time of COVID, remember this, that nothing was moving, right? And because things weren't moving, the shelves were empty. What does it take? It also takes salespeople to be able to help to make sure those products show up on the shelves, right? Individual businesses, we depend on salespeople to be able to help individual businesses, right? Number 3, complete industries, all different industries that you could think about. What happens? We depend on salespeople for that. So important. And the entire economy, we depend on salespeople for that. I think I skipped. Okay, good. Yeah. So in other words, describe the importance of sales to the economy. How important is sales? And that's something that you'll do in your workbook on your own. Now we're going to talk about the difference between a professional and an amateur. In your own words, I want you to be able to write that down as well. What is the difference between a professional and an amateur in the area of sales? Because it's very important too that you understand that. So a professional is a person who's engaged in a specific activity as his or her main paid occupation rather than a pastime. I'll tell you guys, one of the areas that changed my life, well, ever since I was a child, I've always been very entrepreneurial. Like I'm telling you, I started reading at like 3, I think my mom said. And by the time I was 5, I was having folks pay me to read. You want me to read for you? My grandmother would have her friends around. I'll read, but then you guys are going to have to pay me. Right. And so you want me to go do certain chores, like certain errands? You know, I was always sharp. Yeah, you got to pay me. And so understand that these are certain, you know, and salespeople are made. So now, well, I didn't born to be a salespeople. I don't have that type of personality. You know, no, you get the right training and you too can become one. An amateur is a person who engages in a pursuit. They engage in a study or sport as a part-time or a pastime rather than profession or one lacking in experience and competence. And so for thousands of years, guys, salespeople have been amassing wealth and accumulating riches, and the same opportunity still exists today. But so many times we don't look at it that way. Right? We don't look at it that way. We're like, oh, no, there's no money in sales. Guys, I would not have it any other way. When I tell you that I love this, I love the fact that sales gives me the ability to be able to write my own check. That commission gives me that freedom to be able to, because nobody really can pay you for what you're worth. That's the truth. We'll come up with a number and we'll work with that, but nobody can really give you that number that you know that you, hey, listen, this is what I'm valued and this is what sales is able to do for us. But now for your business, if you're not selling, remember you left your full-time job and now this is your full-time, this is your life, this is your investment, this is your legacy. There's nobody, I think Kelly said that earlier, that's going to be as passionate about your baby as you are. And I had to learn that the hard way, because you think everybody's going to be excited about your baby. Not everybody's going to be excited when that baby comes home. And so you have to be excited. You have to be the top #1 professional salesperson in your organization. It has to be about you. You have to be the one. And then from there, we'll talk about how to build a team. The most important sales right here is selling yourself. And this is an area, guys, that so many people fall short on. You know, the ability to sell themselves, right? Only to the degree that you are sold, Kara, can you sell. I'll say that again. Only to the degree you are sold can you sell. And so many entrepreneurs, you know, yes, they have the recipe. They may have come up with the product, but I'm looking for that. I'm sold. I'm sold on my product, because you understand something. If sales are slow, you're not sold. If sales are slow in your business, you know the numbers. And that's why I love when you work with like bookkeeping that Kelly was talking about. I don't like it either. That's why I have a whole team that does it for me. And when they come out, but it has to be done, right? But it's so important because the numbers don't lie. And so to the degree you are sold, only then can you sell. And so in order to become a great salesperson, you have to sell yourself on what you are selling. And so I'm always listening to partners, even when they do their 30-second commercial. I want to see that twinkle in your eye when you talk about your product and your service. Very, very important. Because if I could see that twinkle in your eye, I get excited about it. You got to be able to transfer enthusiasm. That's what sales is all about. It's about transferring enthusiasm. And so you got to make this the most important sale of your life and continue making the sale over and over again. You have to sell yourself completely. And some of you need to go back, right, Denise? You got to go back and spend time with yourself and say, how sold out am I with my product or my services? Because let me tell you something, as you go out into the marketplace, if you have doubts about your products or your service, I'm telling you, you wear it on your shoulders. I did Sandler trainings a lot. There's so many different, I place it in the workbook, all the different books and folks that I follow and different organizations I belong to, because this is so key for me. But you walk with a monitor. Think about you walking with a monitor on your shoulder. And so if you're not sure, Nina, why would they be sold if you're not sold on it? If you're not sold, Jarella, all the way from Aruba, and when you're making those smoothies, and you could sell that smoothie, girl. But if you're not sure about that smoothie, why should I buy the smoothie? Why should I try a new smoothie? And so the first thing, and this is so important in this presentation, guys, is that you understand that you have to sell yourself on what you're selling. Sell yourself on what you're transferring enthusiasm on. Okay, very, very, very important. This right here is everything. What are the two main reasons that people will buy something? What are the two main reasons that people will buy something? All right. People will buy something because they are in love with it. That's why. And this is why it's not about price. We'll talk about that. And people will buy something because of the confidence, the confidence that they have in it. We have a lot to cover. But if you love something, think about the last time you made a purchase. And it was not, they said, whatever the number was. Okay, you look at a show window and you saw this beautiful jacket and you look at it and you're like, oh, let me just go try it. And you go in and you try it, and then you tried it, and then you had the right sales associate, right? And you're like, how does this look? And they're like, it looks good on you. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, it makes me look good, makes me look slimmer, makes me look, makes me look confident, makes me look, And then before you know it, you're like, well, how much is it? And they said, well, it's $500. And you're like, ooh, $500. I could never buy that. And they're like, yeah, well, understand one thing. Most people don't make those purchases based on that. They make the purchases based on how it makes you feel. Oh, that's a good salesperson, Paula. Hey, oh yeah, look at that color. That orange, Angela, makes you pop. Well, don't you want to pop? But see, if you have the wrong salesperson in front of you, what would you say? That, yeah, I know it's expensive. Everything in the store is expensive. Be careful, guys, who's talking about your product. Not everybody can sell your product the way you can. And I am a proof to that every day. So you have to be able to make sure the right person, because they could turn your customers away. So the second will be confidence, right? So write down 3 things. This is for you. 3 things people buy every day that they love, but they don't need. Think about it. Write down the 3 things people buy every day that they love, but they don't need. Oh my gosh. Do I love this product? Because if I do, then I'll pay whatever it takes. That's me. I'll find the money. And that's another thing, guys, that people could. I worked in the refractive industry for a number of years of family. And it's amazing that when we did laser vision correction surgery back then, that people would find money cash because the insurance company wasn't covered. They would find people, don't tell me price, Cheryl, people will find money for whatever it is that they deem is important to them. All right, let's talk a little bit about this. So selling is the act of giving, not getting. Selling is the act of giving, not getting. This is in your workbook. Selling is the act of serving, not selling. You see that? So if you're saying, Angela, especially for us at the chamber, as partners of the chamber, I'm in ministry. Yes, you are in ministry. And God is giving us the blessed opportunity of being in the marketplace. And now that you're in the marketplace, you're there to give, not just to get, you're going to get, but then you have to give. Acts 20:35 is one of our foundation scriptures in the chamber. It's more blessed to give than to receive. What's that? Hey, that's it. That's the word. I'm about serving you, not just selling you. Guys, I want to have a relationship with you. I want to get to know you, and you want to get to know me, because once you get to know me, you'll never leave me. I always tell people, if the relationship is going to end, it's never going to be because of Angela. Paul and I tell folks that every time they come into our life. So you got to be able to understand, I'm giving and I'm serving. That's what you're doing with your product in the marketplace. Now, as a salesperson, are you a Holiday Inn or are you a Ritz-Carlton? Are you a Holiday Inn or are you a Ritz-Carlton? Choose. Think about your business, guys, and think about how your business is being represented. Is your business being, come on, Nina, that's it. Is your business being represented as a Holiday Inn or as a Ritz-Carlton? My. Oh, heesh. Oh, my goodness. All right, did I miss something? Yep, a Holiday Inn or Ritz-Carlton. What are the 4 things you could give away other than the lowest price products or services, right? And so what are the 4 things you could give away other than the lowest price products? Because people are always like, cut the price. Guys, the bottom line is, it's not about the price. Not about the price. When you look at it from a standpoint of a Ritz-Carlton standpoint, you'll recognize this. When you go to a Ritz-Carlton, we have our Call to Wealth Summit coming up in Aruba, July the 27th to the 30th. Shout out to all of you who have already registered. And if you have not, go to angelapipersburg.com and go grab your registration and be in the room. So understand that when you go to a Ritz-Carlton, it's service in abundance. When you go to a Ritz-Carlton, it's all about a can-do attitude. And that's how you and your team ought to be. Oh yeah, we can do it. It's all about smiling and motivation. They smile for everything. Guys, I love smiling people. Everybody around me is always happy folks because I'm a happy person. I remember after my husband and we got married, he said, are you always like this 24 hours? Like, I'm like this 24 hours. I'll be wake up in the middle of the night. He's like, what are you so happy about? I'm just happy. Right, Paul? You want staff that are positive, helpful, and motivated. You don't want your staff telling folks, oh, well, that's not my job. And that's what I love, about the Ritz-Carlton, guys. It's so different. Now, with the Holiday Inn, what's the difference? The price of the Holiday at a Ritz-Carlton could be $500 a night, and the Holiday Inn could be $40 a night. You choose. What's the difference? You tell me. Oh my gosh. So what are the 3 ways you can treat people like millionaires? Because this is key. And that's what the Ritz-Carlton does such a great job. But they make you feel, well, no matter what you got in your bank account, they just give you this feeling. And you ought to be able to do that with your business as well. 1, attitude. This is so key. Attitude that makes the difference. It's your attitude. And guys, you wear your attitude. It's the great service. It's you bending backwards. Yes, it's 5 o'clock, but it's 5:00 and you may leave at 5. And I watch people with this all the time and it's 5:02 and they're like, I can't really do it because we're closed. Come on. That's when I always know the difference between an employer and an employee right here. Now you got somebody at your door. I see this all the time. I've experienced it. You see somebody standing at your door and they're like, oh no, they're locking the door with you standing there. All they need to do is to say to you, listen, we're closed, but is there anything you need that I could help you with real quickly? Oh yeah, I just need to be able to grab this. Come on in real quickly. You understand what I'm saying? Great service, but most employees, they just want to get out of there. But if you want your business to be great, you want your sales numbers to be able to just continue to soar, you're going to have to look at your attitude. You're going to have that attitude that makes a difference. You're going to have to look at your service, Dr. Margaret, to make sure you're providing great service. And number 3, be positive at all times. People are not coming to you for you to tell them what's happening in the economy. Well, that's not us, but those people out there, right? So you got to be positive at all times. Okay, what are the 4 tips for improving your attitude? This right here is key. Right? What are the 4 tips? Number 1, you want to be able to stay away from can't do people. I'm allergic to can't do people, right? You want to stay away from can't do people. Number 2, no negative talk zone. Don't allow people to talk negatively around you, right? And so even with your sales team, like I like to listen to what people are talking about. right? Even if I'm in the background, I just want to hear that conversation. I don't have to be sitting in there, but I want to know what they're talking about. You don't want negativity around you, especially for those of us that are in sales. It's very, very key because you got to be able to understand you wear everything on your shoulder. It's like a television screen. Treat it like garbage and don't allow anyone to leave it in your environment. So no negative talk zone in my environment. The news will get you negative too, negative social media. Faith did an amazing job talking about positive social media. So we don't want negative stuff. You may need to have some of your team members or you start the negative diet today and commit to no negative thoughts, ideas, and ideas for 24 hours. Guys, this one right here is not easy. It is so challenging. Right. And why is that? Because of how we think. Think about that. How many negative thoughts, maybe even while you're on this call, in this class, may have crossed your mind. So you got to be able to just start. The Bible talks about the mind and how we must be. We got to be able to protect our mind and the things that we're supposed to think of. Right. So this will be a start to helping you get control of your thoughts, Dr. Ali, and controls of your actions, and to be able to help you to build discipline and control as to how you think and how you act. And why is that? Because thoughts come before actions, and your actions then determine your life. Guys, I'm telling you, the moment you step out of the boat, for those of you that still may be working for somebody, understand the importance of this. But when you step out of the boat and you said, I'm gonna have a walk on water experience, your attitude is everything, because everything rises and falls on you. And at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, you're responsible. And so understand also that you got to be able to treat success as your duty. You got to be able to treat success as an obligation and a responsibility, not just a choice or as a job. Again, it's a whole different mindset as an entrepreneur versus an employee, or an employee versus an entrepreneur. One of the questions you got to be able to ask yourself is, are you fulfilling your potential? Am I fulfilling my potential? Angela, what's my potential? Your potential is that sleeping giant on the inside of you, right? That's your potential, untapped potential, uncapped, and understand that God wants you to be able to fulfill your potential, unleash that potential. When you're looking at success, is it a duty or an obligation? I just spoke to an entrepreneur yesterday. They really have to get out of business because they see this as an obligation. They see this as their, no, it's time for them to go back to work for somebody. And so understand, when you're looking at success, would more success be good for you, or would more success be bad for you? Right? So you got to be able to understand that. And then your family, you got to be able to make sure that your family's on one plan for the creation of success. I've seen so many great ideas not come to fruition because the family was not on board. And one of the things you'll see about my family is that the entire family's on board. So in order to demand consistent sales success, you have to, one, decide that you're ultimately responsible for the sale. Decide that you're ultimately responsible for the sale. Make it your duty, make it your obligation, make it your responsibility to make the sale. Understand that if you don't sell, money don't come into the business. Dr. Ali, if you don't go bring patients in, you just open your urgent care. You got to let people know about you. That's why you're part of the chamber. So everybody in the chamber could know what an amazing doctor you are. Our family loves you. And so we got to go out, and we got to go everywhere you go. You should be wearing your t-shirt. You should be telling people. You should be giving out a card. You would do it for somebody else, Paula. Why not do it for yourself? Take massive amount of actions followed by action. Until the sale is made, you're going to have to make sure you're working on it, having your goals. How many clients do I need for the week? I ask clients, how much money do you need for the month? I don't know. Well, you better go back and know, because you need to know your numbers. You got to be able to know, if I need to make $10,000, if I need to make $100,000 in a month, I got to be able to make sure I break that thing down every day. One thing about my husband, he's big on that. He keeps the numbers on the board. He keeps it in front of him. He keeps it in front of us. And he's like, let's go. And he's just got it, he keeps you on it, except no excuses, no reasons or logic to figure out how to make it work. Prepare yourself daily to handle all obstacles. Will obstacles come? Yes. Stalls? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to sign up. Oh, yeah, I'm going to sign up. Oh, yeah, I'm going to come see you. And barriers with a client that you will encounter, but you're going to have to know how to overcome that process. This is key. Let's talk about this area right here, because this is an area that turns a lot of people off, right? Rejection. Guys, as long as you're living, there will be rejection. And one of the things I've always said, I don't take anything personal. Again, that just comes with maturity on my part, and not age maturity, but just mental maturity, right? And emotional intelligence. And when it comes to sales, if you say no to me, just like what Jesus told the disciples, brush your feet and keep it moving. Hella, you heard that, Dr. A? Come on now. When they say no, they're not saying no to you, right? And so rejection is not a sales issue. How you handle the rejection is key. Try to avoid it and you're doomed, because you will withdraw. If you start to think less of your product or offer after being told no, then you're being sold on someone else's agenda. So this is so key, because you know why? People will actually try to sell you on their own agenda. And so if your mind is not strong and somebody tells you no, Kelly, then you'll think that, well, maybe it's me, or maybe it's my product, or maybe it's not, Cheryl. Maybe it's not. So this rejection area is so key. So when told no or not yet, or we bought something from someone else, the question for you is, how did you respond? How did you respond? Okay, so that's a question for you. I'll keep moving because we've got a lot more. I want to touch on this. Oh my gosh, the 10 commandments of sales. This is so important. Number one, be proud and be positive, guys. You're running your own organization. When you work for someone and because they gave you a check, you had to be proud and positive for them. Some of us, a check don't matter. It don't matter if you pay me or don't pay me. If I'm team up with you, I'm going to be proud of what you do. I'm going to be positive about what you do, and I'm going to be talking about it. But even more so when it's your own. So be proud. I want to see more of chamber partners being more proud and being more positive about this amazing organization or business that God has entrusted to you. My gosh, you've had your walk on water experience. You got out of the boat of comfort, and now you're walking on the waters of just endless possibilities. So let's just start seeing more positivity. Let me see more posts on Facebook. And let me just with your product. There's one lady I know, my gosh, every time you turn around, she's highlighting her product. But that's it. Because if you're not highlighting yours, if you're not selling, you'll be sold. So let's make some changes. Dress like you're proud. The way you carry yourself is so key. Act like you're proud and be the most positive person your customer will ever meet. Guys, I thank God every day that I'm memorable. And when you meet me, you'll never forget me. And you got to be able to start confessing the same thing and acting the same way, which means that when I haven't had that many jobs, but when I worked for somebody, they knew that because I'm here, the company's blessed. And I would always be going, listen, it's time for a raise, but this is what I'm not asking you to give me the raise. It's a win-win, because I'm going to bring, if I'm going to bring $10 million into the company, I'm going to ask you for X, Y, Z. See, it's an exchange. That's what we do in the kingdom, always an exchange. Not what can you give to me, but how can we do this together? How can we make that exchange? So dress for sales success. I sold life insurance in college. One of the best decisions. Hallelujah. I sold life insurance, guys, and they taught me how to do this. Of course, I'd always been in beauty pageants, so dressing for success for me was always so key. I just like to dress up. I am happy dressing up. Even when I'm dressed down, I'm dressed up, because in my mind, I am dressed up. Right? Number three, you got to be able to see the sale, see the sale, see the sale. And for some of you, as Faith was talking about going out and having your photo shoots and everything, it's time for an upgrade, even in our appearance. Time for an upgrade. Guys, I'm working on some things right now, and I want you to be working on some things too. Okay, commandment number 3, see the sale, see the sale. You got to be able to see the sale. When you're before you even go out on that sales call, you got to see the sale. You got to be able to know you've already sold the deal. The contract has been signed. So you can't be going in there fumbling, right? Nina, you got to be able to make sure it's done. Know that you're closing that deal today. So many of us have long extended in the pipelines, and in Sandler, we learned about the first base, second base, third base. So many of us got folks at third base for so long, golly, they fell asleep, they woke up, went on a vacation, and you still haven't closed them. So somebody type in the chat, close the deal, right? So customers don't make the sales, guys. The salesperson does. You do it. And so if you leave it up to the customer, guess what happens? Nothing will happen, Rob. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. And that's why they're on third base for so long. Got them from first base to second base, and they're on third base. Let's get them home. I want you to go back and look at your pipeline. See where you are with your prospects. Let's make them customers this week. And if you can't see it happening, it never will. You must see the sales taking place before it can actually take place. You got to be able to see it, got to be able to see it, right? And then number 4, be sold on your offer. This is the most important of all. We talked a little about this. If you can't make the sales, come on now, if you can't make this sale, what difference would it make with the ones that will pay you? So write a list of the reasons people should do business with you and why they're worth the investment. That is everything, Juanita. You're going to have to make sure that you do that. That right there is so key. Because you have to be able to make sure why should people do business with you, Blama? Why should people do business with you, Juanita? Why should people do business with Agile? Why? Why should they do business with you? Write that down and why they are worth the investment. And then number 5, know your value proposition. What do you bring to the table that sets your product apart from others? You gotta have, you need to know this. The marketplace is loud and it's noisy, but I'm telling you guys, the marketplace will stop for difference. Hey, I know somebody who wrote that book, Your Gift, It Makes Room for You, And so when it shows up, guys, the marketplace will stop because it's different. Commandment number 6. Oh my gosh, I literally saw this recently. Always agree with your client. When you hear something you object to or disagree with, handle it with agreement, not disagreement. I literally saw a person told the client, you're wrong. You're wrong. Oh no, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this can't be this person's company. It just can't be. Even if the customer is wrong about something, there's no value by telling him or her so. Always agree with your clients. Sometimes I agree is good enough. You're gonna have to make sure that you're in agreement, guys, with your clients. So important, so important. Oh, we gotta keep moving, go moving. Okay, number 7, super demonstration. Super demonstration. Lord Jesus, where did time go? Super demonstration, right? So be sure to demonstrate the value of your product. No one spends $200,000 on something worth $200,000. They only spend $200,000 when they believe they're getting something of value in excess of what they're spending. So let people know that they can't live without your offer, Rob. Number 8, be time efficient. The buyer of the 21st century, guess what, Kelly? They're in a hurry. So sell in the shortest period possible. Spending more time with prospects will not ensure a sale, Nina, but in fact will negatively affect your closing ratio and your gross profit. So spending quality time and knowing what your buyer values will save all parties time. Know the selling, know those selling points. When they're like, how much is it? Just tell them, just stop the presentation, give it to them. Number 9, assume the close. This is it. Can I have your business and sign here are 2 powerful phrases to a salesperson. Guys, I have a very high closing ratio. If you get them in front of me, they're going to be closed because that's just what I do. Right. And so you got to get to that place too. It's like, well, Angela, I'm confident. That's it. Because I've worked on this thing and I continue to work on it. Number 10, always persist in the close until a transaction is closed. Here's Paul. You have provided no value to your client. Most salespeople never attempt to close one time. I listen to sales presentation, even those who work with us, when they're doing their sales presentation, must less persist enough times to get the sales. So sign here are the words of a closer. Sign here. Sign here. Being able to handle all the stalls and objections that surface is what determines whether you will be successful or not. Real quickly, the traits of a great salesperson. I'm gonna do this thing. Number 1 is willing to be told no. Remember, you don't wear your feelings on your sleeve. If they tell you no, then it may not be no forever. It may just be no now based on where they are, right? Number 2, ask for the order regardless. And when they say no, don't drop them off. Just put them in a different file, in your little tickler file, right? Ask for the order regardless, right? Just ask for the order. You got to ask. Matthew 7:11, you got to ask. Listen selectively. You got to be able to. I listen from the moment people pick up the phone. When I start talking, hey, if they tell me this is Angela, I write down their name. But or if I give you my name and you're going to come back 4 times and ask me what my name is, you've already lost me. So they listen selectively. Number 4, stay sold on his or her own story. You got to be able to be passionate, guys. You got to be able to be passionate because you're selling it. You're going to have to ask questions, but don't ask questions that the prospect has already given you the answers to. See why you got to be focused? You got to turn the phone off, and you're going to have to be hyper focused so that you could hear them, so you could feel them, so you could know, and you could ask the right questions. Get answers to the questions from them. I just had an amazing open door for me 2 days ago because I asked the right questions. And even though the person was dancing around the question, I eventually got them to the right question, and you will not know what it lead to. In a little bit, you'll see. So number 7, know that price is not an issue. We talk about that. It's not about price, guys. Price, you may be hung up on price, but they're not hung up on price. So is willing to pressure and persist. So understand you got to persist, that you're walking them through a process, right? It's called the sales process. Believes in selling as a good thing. If you have a negative connotation on sales, but you took a job just so you could get some money, and you don't have the right training, guys, it's not going to work for you. Number 10, you're always training and always preparing. Guys, I'm always getting sales training, always. Oh, I have so many mentors in this area to be able to help me to be the best that I could be. We're almost there. We're almost there. The professional salesperson daily commitment. This is key. This is key right here. I commit to making changes where necessary. As you go back and look in your business, I commit to educating myself every day. This is important because as a sales professional, you're always educating people. You're helping people. The world needs you. The world can't move forward without you. So this is why I'm saying this right here is a profession. You know, it's not just something you do on the side. Right? I commit to training every day. This is very important as an entrepreneur and as a professional, right? I'm commit to doing the right thing. This is everything. You got to do the right thing, especially as a believer, because there are going so many opportunities where you don't have to do the right thing. I commit to being the most positive person I know. Guys, the world is looking for positive people. The world wants positive people. I commit to quit making excuses. Too many excuses. Stop making excuses and just make it happen. That's my motto. Please, if you want to roll with me, just make it happen. Make it happen. Make it happen. The dog ate the cat, and I don't need that. With my personality type, that don't work. Just tell me how we're going to make it happen. Right? I commit to making my dreams come true by my actions. This is everything. I commit to working my plan every day. I commit to a can-do attitude with every customer. Yes, let me see what I can do. It don't know. Oh no, we don't do that, sir. Oh no, sir, we don't know, ma'am. No, we don't do that. No, we don't do this, and we don't do that. And I'm thinking, then what do you do? No. Let me see what I can do. Just do that. Let me see what I can do. Even if you don't have, let me see what I can do. That's all. And that right there will de-escalate a situation. Let me see what I can do. Right? Very important. And so very, very, very important. I commit to working on my plan every day. I commit to a can-do attitude with every customer. And so I commit to doing what it takes, whatever it takes. I commit to exceeding the expectations of my customer. I commit to staying focused on what I want. I commit to following up on every opportunity. I commit to being highly ethical in every area of my life. And I pray that you were blessed by this. I am grateful and thankful. Other things that I wanted to go through, but I won't for the sake of time. I know my team is like, Angela, will you make it? Guys, I did it, and I have 1 minute to prove it. So to God be the glory. Again, go through your workbook, and you have the ability. Kelly, I did it, girl. You have the ability to be able to go through and take a look at some of these trainings that I take, the Jeffrey Gitmore, Zig Ziglar, of course, Secrets of Closing the Deal, The Ultimate Sales Machine, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Selling to Big Companies, The Psychology of Selling, Brian Tracy, Go for No, of course, Uncle G. You guys know me, Grant Cardone, I'm part of his organization as well. The Closer Survival Guide, Smart Selling. The Closer Survival Guide is a must. That's one of Grant's book. And then Sales and EQ. I talk about sales CRM, Salesforce.com. Monday.com is another place. And then where you can get leads, because you're going to have to understand the importance of getting on that phone, guys. The professional to sell is to serve. You got to be able to believe in your product, but you also need to understand that you're going to have to prospect. You're going to have to fall in love with the phone. You're going to have to understand the importance of of prospecting every day to grow your business. You can get leads there, as well as there's different things that you could do. Faye talked about, and Blama talked about it as well. So you could start growing your database. And then, and again, of course, for collateral designs with your pitch deck, your website, etc., we have Shaddai Marketing for you. All righty. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. So understand, the importance of, just overcoming fear, false evidence appearing real in the area of your sales. That's really what it is. It's just fear. It's just false. And so you got to be able to know that you can overcome that. You could, by Monday morning, when you take this weekend and you start planning for next week, and you put together a list of maybe folks that may have said no to you before, go to your pipeline. If you have nothing in your pipeline, commit to income producing activities, guys. Income producing activities. IPA is so important because that's the only way you're going to go to the bank. Yes, you may be in the red for a little bit, but that was never God's intention. His intention is that you will grow a profitable, scalable business. So I pray that you are blessed by this. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All righty, Kelly. So we're going to enter into now our time of Q&A. So partners, I pray that you are blessed by this. I pray that you got great value from it. And I pray that we're going to see the fruit of what you have received